Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Hope you're all making sure to take care of yourselves and that you're all having a great day. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. It's a free and easy way to help out the channel and it helps out my algorithm. Sorry, I'm stretching. Oh gosh, my lower back. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, it actually feels a bit better now. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. All right. Insanity is about to ensue. So one of the, and I mean, I'm going to try and give it to you how it is. One of the common price predictions that we received, and I mean, even since like January, was the idea of Bitcoin going to $100,000. Everyone got it? Cool. That then roughly morphed into the idea, I mean, within the last 3 or 4 weeks, if you've been paying attention, that morphed into a $150,000 to a $200,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year. Like in like 3 weeks or something like that. The anticipation and the correlation are basically the Fed is expected to continue lowering interest rates. The amount of accumulation by the Bitcoin ETFs is so out of control right now that we are entering a period of history where there will not be any more Bitcoin left for the general public. We've gone over that before. I'm not going to sit here ranting and raving about it again. We've gotten news that since the beginning of November, from a number of high-ranking, wealthy individuals within the space, that apparently there are a number of very wealthy countries who heard that the US is going to be launching a Bitcoin reserve, and basically they're trying to front run it. The issue there ends up being is that they're basically buying up such an enormous amount of Bitcoin before the US can. And it appears as if other countries might also be doing the same without actively having announced it to anyone. So we thought there were 5 countries. Now there might be around 12 who are doing so. At the same exact time, while all of this is happening, the everyday average person is also accumulating more as well. I think word has gotten out, guys, that we're in the bull run. We went from 68,000 to 70-something thousand. It's believed that once we crossed by $87,000, that was the official start of the bull run, and therefore everyone has begun to pile into the market. So when retail begins to join back into the market, a bit of FOMO takes place. We are not in 2025 FOMO yet, like the year after the halving. Always ends up being bananas. Always. The amount of FOMO that we see always propels us to these really crazy high price valuations. Price predictions for Bitcoin are now ranging between $500,000 to $1 million over the course of next year. MicroStrategy, seeing what is currently taking place, has had a goal, I don't know what word to put there, of collecting as much Bitcoin as they possibly can. We had news that they were trying to raise $1 billion and then another $4 billion, and then they purchased in one day 51,000 Bitcoin worth several $1 billion, and now they're trying to raise an additional $42 billion to buy even more Bitcoin. And even after that, announcing that they were trying to do that, they're actually raising even more billions, like as we speak right now, trying to get ahead of the US potentially also gobbling up Bitcoin, and also front running their other trade that they're trying to do of raising $42 billion. Then we got news that the Bitcoin ETF options had launched. People think that this is on top of the ETFs, going to create such a huge amount of liquidity for the market that basically by the end of this year, we are going to be where people thought that we would be around March, April, or May of next year. Everyone hanging on? I told you it's going to get a bit intense. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, has officially launched options trading for its Bitcoin ETF, the iShares Bitcoin Trust IBIT. The debut comes after the ETF received regulatory approval in January and has since attracted, significant isn't the word. There was one day alone where they had 9,000 Bitcoin that were purchased. One day, keeping in mind the other days were like 8,400, 7,300, 9,000 was kind of the kicker. So everyone, looked up really high. But every day, they're accumulating 10, 15x the amount of Bitcoin that's actually being created. The demand is not even outstripping the supply. It is thousands of miles in the other direction. It is nowhere near, anywhere remotely close to where we normally would be around this time. According to Bloomberg, the introduction of options trading on the $43 billion iShares Bitcoin Trust is anticipated to reduce volatility while broadening Bitcoin's investor base. This apparently is supposed to be the golden ticket. Sorry if I'm screaming into the microphone. There's a lot going on. From what I can gather and can tell from all these analyticals that everyone's talking about, people think that this is going to, so the idea of volatility, you know what it means. You've seen it before in Bitcoin. The idea of the ETFs is that they're also going to, in essence, reduce volatility to a certain extent. Because we also, and I mean, if you want real answers, we won't be seeing as much movement by retail investors selling, and therefore the volatility of any drops would greatly decrease as well. The options for the ETFs are apparently meant to bring in so much extra money that Bitcoin kind of begins to become a currency. One of the big things about Bitcoin over the decade and then some has been Bitcoin's volatility. Goes up by 12%, goes down by 14%, goes up by 22%. The options are supposed to really smooth that out. As Bitcoin gets higher in price and more money gets into the market and we have an intense amount of liquidity, if you have $1 trillion market cap and someone sells $1 million worth of Bitcoin, the price won't budge. If you have $1 million market cap and someone sells $1 million worth of Bitcoin, well, guess what? The volatility is going to be completely off the charts. Options, according to the analysts, are meant to basically this is the next step in the actual evolution of Bitcoin becoming like an actual currency. Alex Thorne, head of firm-wide research at Galaxy Digital, stated during a Bloomberg television interview that as Bitcoin becomes more widely held, its volatility is likely to decrease. This is why we've seen all these rich people buying up a huge amount of Bitcoin. Bitcoin becomes more legitimate, and I mean by being held by rich people, as many other assets do, the Veblen effect, but also by having lower volatility. Other assets are volatile in like a 0.5%, 1% kind of movement up and down per day, not by going up and down by huge numbers. If we in the future, this is still a huge number. In the future, if we see Bitcoin going up by 0.5% and 1% per day, don't be discouraged. That means that Bitcoin is doing extremely well. Other assets don't go up by 15 to 30% over the course of a month. Dips will also be basically nearly non-existent the bigger Bitcoin actually gets. And don't forget, people are predicting that next year, that once Bitcoin's valuation market cap is half of what gold actually is, that people will begin to leave gold in mass in anticipation of Bitcoin passing by its market cap. There's a lot happening at the exact same time. He said options will dampen volatility, and as volatility comes down, people can take larger position sizes without basically having to worry. Thorne noted that a decrease in volatility could shift investor sentiment, encouraging them to view Bitcoin as a viable asset for fundamental use cases rather than merely a speculative asset. Because other companies are also gearing for it as well, when we see other companies begin to launch their own options, I mean the Fidelities, the Grayscales, etc., the market's going to get crazy. I don't know why. I do not know why everything is happening at the exact same time, but it's kind of freaking me out. I had expectations years ago of what the market was going to do, what the market was going to look like. And I mean, once I told you before, I thought this was all going to take a number of years before we got to this point. Between currencies collapsing, the government's trying to print as much money as they can to keep markets up, the US dollar not looking too hot, interest rates dropping. I mean, it's really across the board. Everything is lining up, and I think a major portion of it probably was as well Blackrock and all these other companies introducing their ETFs. If we did not have the ETFs, logically, next year we were probably going to reach a $150,000 to a $200,000 Bitcoin. Where we are now puts us in uncharted territory, because all the Bitcoin is being bought up by all these wealthy people. There's really not a lot left. And any buying pressure is going to push us up higher in price. The availability of options will also enable institutions to hedge their positions more effectively, increasing liquidity and potentially impacting retail trading during bullish market conditions. Bloomberg ETF, his name is Eric Balchunas, and James Seifert reported that on the first day of options trading, the total notable exposure for the IBIT reached $1.9 billion on its first day. There were 354,000 contracts that were activated. Of the contracts, 289,000 were calls and 65,000 were puts, resulting in a bullish call to put a ratio of 4.4 to 1. Okay. Seifert claimed that this was overwhelming interest in call options contributed to Bitcoin hitting the all-time high when it hit $94,000. Every single time that we keep hitting a brand new number, I'm not sure if you know or if you've been seeing, a lot of analysts are basically saying, like, you know how like we always have like a level that we have to break before we hit like another level, like logically, mathematically, but like there are like certain like glass barriers that we have to actually break, and apparently we've been like skyrocketing through them. There's like almost no resistance now as far as like the market going back up. We also heard that as well for the UTXOs, the unspent transaction outputs. Apparently, it said 99.3% of addresses are in profit. And basically, that's usually an indication that Bitcoin has moved from weak hands to strong hands. And the strong hands don't plan on selling because they're waiting for Bitcoin to go to $1 million per coin. Balchunas, on the other hand, pointed out that the majority of option contracts are bullish. He said there is a call option for Bitcoin on the 20th of December. The 20th of December. He said this call option states that Bitcoin's price will double within a month. This means that investors are expecting Bitcoin to hit a new record high of a little over 180,000 US dollars by the 20th of December. Remember how I said before, and that was the title of another video, and I was like, if we hit these numbers, you're going to have a great Christmas. That was back when Bitcoin was like $40,000. The idea of Bitcoin hitting $100,000. You remember I was like, Christmas is going to be great. The options calls are expecting Bitcoin at $180,000 plus in essentially 2 weeks. If we hit these numbers, by the time we get to summer 2025, Bitcoin's price is going to be $400,000 to $500,000 per coin. That then leads us into the actual crazy parabolic movements towards the end of the year of Bitcoin nearing $1 million. They're talking about in 2 weeks, Bitcoin getting to the maximum that we thought it was going to hit in the entirety of 2025. I told you things are about to get crazy. That's what the options are saying. That's not even all the actual accumulation by the ETFs, by the countries, by the people mining Bitcoin. MicroStrategy, do you understand what it means for one company to have 330,000 Bitcoin and they keep buying? You know how many other companies are doing the exact same thing, but they're just not publicly announcing it and or not filing with the US SEC? I don't think it's going to be more than a year. I do not think it is going to take until November, December 2025 for there to be no Bitcoin left. I think we're witnessing like the mad dash right now. We are like in the doorstep of hyper-Bitcoinization, of Bitcoin taking over everything. The US dollar has lost 99% of its value to Bitcoin in 10 years. I'm sure the number is actually probably 99.9 at this point because of Bitcoin's constant rapid ascent. Inflation is also expected to like pump next year, which is also only going to help Bitcoin rise higher. I think by the year 2028, I think the world will be like economically unrecognizable with Bitcoin at the literal helm of the ship. Right. So, yeah. That's the 2 weeks left. 2 weeks to see if this happens. The way that things have been going, I'm not really questioning stuff anymore. That's the Blackrock call options. And yeah, let's move on. So this needs to be discussed, like this actually needs to be discussed because I don't, and I'll give it to you this way. If this happens, I wouldn't be surprised. If this takes place, it would be totally understandable, and I'll tell you exactly why. This was almost as popular as the Blackrock call options 2 weeks snooze. I saw this and I was like, what? For those of you who don't know, Shiba Inu is an incredibly popular coin. It's not like people like it. No, like this coin in many ways is as, if not more popular than Dogecoin. Within the cryptocurrency space, people love Shiba Inu. Someone called Carl, otherwise known as the Moon, just hang on there. A well-known cryptocurrency investor based in the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, came forward with a significant, bold prediction about the future of Shiba Inu, the coin. In a recent post, he declared that he does not plan on selling his Shiba Inu coin until the token's price skyrockets. He thinks that the price of Shiba Inu is going to 50 cents a coin. Hang on, cool it. For those of you who do not know, the Shiba Inu platform, the coin, the blockchain, has kind of blossomed in the last 2 years. They kind of came forward and basically said that Dogecoin really isn't doing anything. Dogecoin is mainly fueled by optimism of Elon Musk and not much else. So the people from Shiba Inu created their own metaverse. They created their own side chains. They created their own staking coins. They created their own burn mechanism. The burn mechanism, and we used to get news about this all the time. Certain days, the burn mechanism would rise by like 47,000%. The idea being, every time that a transaction happens on Shiba Inu, coins are burned in the background. The more transactions there are, the more coins that get burned. A number of crypto exchanges jumped onto the ship as well and said, cool, we'll help you. Every time transactions happen on our crypto exchanges with this coin, we will also burn more coins as well for you and with you. And a bunch of other companies also joined on to the bandwagon as well to also burn these coins. So the mantra has been for this coin, since it popped up in the news around 2 years ago, is that this coin is going to hit 1 cent. One. That's been the generalized idea for a very long time. Just based off of market cap, the previous all-time high, the bull run, bull market, where it's going to go, it's going to X that amount, and therefore it's going to hit 1 cent. Very popular number. Why I think this was very popular news and why I think it's totally believable. Now, stay with me here. This coin is so popular that the coin burn is happening like all the time, basically non-stop. During any bull run, a lot of smaller projects tend to get a lot of like attention from new people getting into the market, from old people being in the market, and from people who really love this actual coin. The more people that interact with it, the more coins that are going to be burned. The more coins that get burned, the smaller the supply. The smaller the supply, the more the burn ends up happening, and the more people find out about the coin. The more people find out about the coin, the higher the price goes. It's like a loop that kind of is like feeding off of itself, if you will. I told some of you before, I know we have a lot of new people here. Hello. I've been in the crypto market for a very long time. I mean, it's been at least 714 years at this point. And I had a friend years ago who, on a joking whim, decided that he was going to buy Dogecoin. And I remember being like, oh, you're like crazy. Okay, that sounds kind of cool. I think he put $1,000 into Dogecoin when the price was 0.003 or something like that. It was multiple it was multiple decimal places behind one, like where 1 cent would normally be. If you ever end up looking at some of these coin prices or the valuations of these coins on like Coin Market Cap, you'll see that like it'll list their price like 0.02 XY43, like repeating, like, you know, all these little like letters and numbers to indicate that like it's so many zeros behind. That's what Dogecoin's price used to look like. The idea of Dogecoin ever going to 1 cent was like, no, that's not going to. I remember talking to a guy in a cafe one time. He overheard me talking about crypto and he was like, that coin's never going to 1 cent. And I was like, really? He's like, there's like, look at the supply. Dogecoin also inflates, I think, by 5 million new coins per day. Like per day. You can look it up. Like almost said coin. Dogecoin has a crazy inflation rate, and people are talking about this bull run, Dogecoin going to like $2 or $3. This bull run. Shiba Inu doesn't have an inflation rate, like the coins are burning, so like it's going in the opposite direction. So when I saw this and I saw the popularity of this, I was like, I'm going to say it to you this way, and I'm going to be as real as I possibly can. 2 things. That friend I told you who bought $1,000 worth of Dogecoin all those years ago, for those of you who forgot the story, it came out to around 100 million Dogecoin. Did you hear the words I just said? It was around 100 million Dogecoin that he purchased for basically nothing, literal peanuts at this point. When Dogecoin's price last cycle went up to, it was like 60 or 70 cents, he was on my mind the entire time because I was like, I know he made bank. Like, I know, like, dude, let me call this guy and remind him, take profits, do something. I contacted him and he told me, for those of you who don't remember, he had put some of the Dogecoin onto a paper wallet. I think it was like 20 million Dogecoin onto a paper wallet, and he gave it to his mother. He didn't grow up rich. They didn't have a lot of money. So this was like, you know, let's see what happens. He gave it to her. She put it away somewhere. And then he had his coins. At some point, he decided to like leave. He wanted to travel the world and stuff like that. So he sold his coins. He sold because the price had also gone down. He sold around $400, $500. All of it. That was all of the Dogecoin that he had to be able to like book a flight and like stay places. When the price skyrocketed, apparently like when it was like 20, 30 cents, apparently he contacted his mother. He was like, remember that piece of paper I gave you years ago? And he had to remind her. She threw it away like weeks later. It meant nothing to her. It was a photo of a dog with like money symbols on it. It meant nothing to her. She saw it as trash, which is crazy that your child gave you something, you threw it away. That money would have been millions and millions. He gave her 20 million Dogecoin on a paper wallet that he would have just had to have scanned, and then he would have had those coins back, instantly changing their lives forever. The idea of Dogecoin ever going to 1 cent was a dream. It was a fever dream. It was never going to happen. The idea of it going to 10 cents, like stop. Like you sound crazy saying those words out loud. 50 cents, 70 cents, $3. Dogecoin is probably going to $3. I don't know who wanted to hear that, but like just mathematically, if we got to 70 cents before, nothing in my mind says we're not going to hit $1.50 to $3. The idea of Shiba Inu going to 50 cents sounds bonkers. But then you look at the actual logic. No one's talking about this coin going to $73 or $14. Even the idea of like 1 cent, people were pricing it out before, like with like a normal burn rate. And they were like, 1 cent sounds believable. As the burn rate continued, some of the last news that we had about the burn rate going on this year around summertime was that people were like, they think it could hit 2 to 3 cents. And to finish off the rest of the story as to being real, if Shiba Inu goes to 50 cents, I think I'm going to sit in a corner and cry. And I mean like actually, because it's not even feeling like I've missed out on something. My brain wouldn't be able to conceptualize how much money I missed out on. This coin is so popular, and I'll finish off my thought by saying, I want nothing more than for everyone in this market to succeed. And I mean like succeed. If you are holding this coin, I hope it goes to 50 cents. I swear to goodness, I hope it actually goes to 50 cents and that you have such life-changing money that you don't know what to do with yourself. If this coin hits 50 cents in the next couple of years, I'm going to like go crazy. I'm going to have to like go to like a White Lotus hotel and just like clear my mind doing yoga for like a good 8 months. It seems believable. Like that's the crazy part. Like that's kind of the kicker. If 1 cent is doable, and there's all these, I mean, without going too deep into it from all the news we've been getting, there was barely any Dogecoin news over the last 2 years, and it was mainly Shiba Inu and what's the other one? Terra Luna Classic burn news as well. Like there's so many things planned for the burning of this coin to basically make the circulating supply like dwindle so fast, like barely almost nothing like actually is left. So please, I hope it happens. Like I really genuinely hope. I really do. Like, because I think it's kind of like a dealing with trauma kind of thing, because I just knew my friend was rich. I just knew my friend had like hit it rich and he was about to live his best life. And when he told me that, I was so sad for him because I was like, all you had to, it was $400. All you had to do was leave it on your computer in a wallet and just not think about it. But there was no idea of this coin ever going in that direction. No one thought. No one. Dogecoin going to a cent? No, you're out of your mind. Now we're talking about $2, $3. Yeah. That's the very popular Shiba Inu going to 50 cents news. That would be bananas. That would be completely insane. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are prepared for this bull run, everything that's happening. It's crazy. I don't have to explain at all, but things are like, I don't even know what's going on anymore. Like everything's just completely out of control. We'll see what happens. Next year is rapidly approaching. I am hoping that everyone has prepared, has bought what they wanted. Because, you know, money. I do hope you've all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.